when the airplane's leaving the runway, everything is moving really fast. That's being in the weeds. I mean, it's the ground's moving really fast. Everything, the danger, the highest part of the danger is right then and there, is when you're close to the ground. And as you ascend and get higher up in the air, everything starts slowing down. And the higher they get, the slower everything moves. In fact, it looks like it almost stops moving. You can't tell you're flying at 500 miles an hour. You can when you're by the ground, when you're only going 150 to get off in the air, but you're at 500 and you can't tell it. And it's the same way you should run your business. You should be at, 36,000 feet looking over the business and delegating, and where everything's slower, where your stress is lower. All this is the same thing as flying an airplane, because right now you're just on their runway trying to take off, and you're not and you're not taking off, and everything's just flying at you so fast. And that is what we're talking about today. That right there is the analogy that I need you to think about when you're having a bad day.
From Sarah Systems and Billy Go, this is No B.S. with Billy Stevens and Landon Brewer, the unfiltered, straight-shooting podcast that dives deep into the heart of home service trades to uncover the truth about running your business. You're entering the No B.S. zone with Billy and Landon.
Hey, welcome everybody to the No B.S. show. I got my friend here, Landon Brewer, sitting here about 2,000 miles away, but feels like he's just right here. And
miles away.
Yeah, whatever it is. I think that's about how far you are away.
I'm in the land of the fruits and nuts.
There you go. I want to welcome everybody today. Before we get started, I just want to remind you that this show, the success of this show, is built on subscribers and viewers. And if you would please subscribe and hit the subscribe button, and would you please share this show in your network? We are really enjoying the process of helping contractors, technicians, people in the office. We hope that we're giving good advice to everyone that's ever listened to this.
Is it true that you give free hugs to every subscriber?
Sure. I'll do free hugs. Absolutely. Don't subscribe.
Free hugs. You heard it here first.
All right. Just do me a favor, Landon. I don't want you subscribing now. Okay.
I just dropped out.
If you just need a hug, I'll give you one. You don't have to subscribe. It's okay.
Well, I'll tell you what, speaking of giving hugs, kind of the subject matter of our show today, like there's a lot of contractors out there that need some hugs.
That's right. We want to give hugs. Today is Hug the Contractor Day. Why is that? Because we're tired and stressed out, and sometimes we just want to give up. But today we're going to give you some hugs and pump you back up and tell you why you need to stay in it. There's so much opportunity coming your way. You just got to stay in it, and we got to get through, whatever struggles you are, whatever size business you are. We're going to help you get through those struggles. We feel like just the little things that we don't have time to think about that, that we've done in our careers that we can spread around. And so this show is hugs because I'm tired. All right. That's what we're going to talk about today. And then again, I want to let y'all know this is not scripted. We literally come up with this show idea right now.
There you go. Live in action.
You brought up a hug. Let's go with hugs.
Let's go with hugs. But I mean, in general, one of the things that I think is not discussed enough in our circle, because we always talk about pay plans and sales processes and financials, but one of the things I think is probably not addressed enough is like the perspective, the mental health of the business and the operators. Like some people talk about culture, but here's what I mean by perspective. When I started out, I didn't know anything about the industry. I started out working with these guys that had taken Service Experts public. And my perspective is that, these businesses should go public. They're big businesses. I didn't really know. And so I'm just like, all right, well, my goal is to help build $1 billion business. And that's just what's going to happen. And, then, you get into it and you learn more about how they're all small businesses. But my perspective is we just got to build something to $1 billion. And then that perspective has just kind of carried me in a lot of the deals and stuff that we've done and businesses we've built. But my perspective was always that. And I think most people start differently. If they come out of the field, they're like, wow, if I could just make, do $500,000 in sales, what could I do? Or $1 million in sales. And, now my perspective is like, after having all these experiences, like, okay, in order to sell something for 8 billion, like what's the record? How do we get to 8-10 billion dollars of transactions? And I that's just, I'm wired to continue to think like that. But most people are if you're in the day-to-day grind, if that's what you're faced with every day, and if you're in the middle of the chaos and you got constant fire drills and you got employee problems and customer problems and this, like it's like you're getting your ass kicked every day, you're getting beat up. And my perspective is like, why the hell did I do this? What did I get myself into? So there's two very different perspectives out there. And how do you keep yourself in that mental spot of building a successful, growing, profitable company? Because if you're not mentally healthy, if you become an alcoholic because of all the problems you're faced with at work, if you, people get into drugs, like if you allow yourself to go down that path, like there's no success in your future, right?
No.
If you can avoid that, if you can deal with that, and you can keep healthy habits, you can manage your time wisely, and you can keep the right focuses, you can do amazing things. This is the greatest time in the industry. Some people, there's people out here listening saying this is the most miserable thing I've ever done and I hate my life. And other people like me are like, holy crap. Right now, we're at this dawn of this new era of home services where P's come in. A lot of the operators are out. There's people in non-competes. There's this potential gold rush for people that are really solid operators that know what they're doing and have some money and backing now. Like, it's going to be the most interesting time ever in the next couple of years.
Absolutely.
But other people, I see the vast majority of people are like, oh, I hate my life because I can't figure it out.
For you that are just hating your life right now, we're going to give you a hug today, and we're going to give you a couple of tidbits on how to get out of that. My goal was just to make $100,000 a year. Was my goal. I didn't even know how to spell a billion. It wasn't even on my radar. It was just, how do I make 100,000 and support my family, better than, my parents were able to do, and all that kind of stuff. Right. I just wanted to do more. And so from that perspective, I started building a business with that in mind and, creating it from that point. But what I learned along the way was I was stressed out a lot. I was working. I was the first one there. I was the last one to leave every day. I was working on the weekends every day. And then as I got better at what I was doing and started learning how to actually run these businesses, I was able to step back. And I really want to talk about stepping back. What does that mean? Does that mean that I just go to the beach or something, or go play golf? Yeah, I can go do that anytime I want. I can do that anytime I want. I've been doing this a long time. I can do that. No problem. But that's not what it means when we, step back. We're being successful and our goal is to, not have to work the grind that we're working. I mean, when you're in the grind, your whole idea is, how do I work less hours, right? So I want to put it in perspective real quickly before we get into how do you get out of that grind. So I have 5 different businesses that I run on a day-to-day. I got the same amount of time as someone running one business. Okay. How do I find time to run all these businesses and not stress myself out? And then I want to hear how you do all the things that you do without stressing yourself out. And so how do I do that? Well, I really prioritize my time. It doesn't take a full day to make a full day worth of stuff get done. You can get a full day's worth of work done in half an hour if you prioritize your time and your objective and delegate. You're going to have to learn to delegate. We're all good at something. We all have our little thing that we're good at. Maybe it's one thing. Maybe you're lucky and you got 2 or 3 things. But you got to identify what you really enjoy doing and what you're really good at. Now, maybe you enjoy doing something and maybe you're not that good at it, but you can do that too. You can do what it makes you joyful so that you can keep, going, and then what you're good at. And then all the stuff that you're not good at, You need to give it to somebody that's good at it, or at least as good as you are. So it doesn't have to be perfection. It just needs to be at least good as you are. And delegate that and get rid of that and start unloading your obligations. And that's the hardest thing for a contractor to do, because we are control freaks in a way. That's just the industry we're in. That's how we're designed. We're designed to be in control of the whole thing. And we gotta learn to let go. When I did that, my world opened up. And I don't start a business and expect to go out and do everything about that business. When I start each business, I go find the best people I can find and put them in the positions that they need to be in. And I do that as soon as I can. Because what I'm good at, if you will, is creating things, solving problems, and monetizing the problems that we solve. That's what I'm good at. No one else on my staff is good at that, but they're good at other things. What I'm bad at is I don't like filling out long forms. I don't like writing long emails. I don't care about doing anything that requires me to do, filling out stuff, the tedious work. I don't like that kind of work. It's not what I want to do, and I don't do it. I don't do it at all. But I like building things, creating things, and so I go and do that, and then I let everybody else do what they do. And that's how I'm able to do the same amount of, or do 5 different companies in an 8-hour day, where a lot of contractors are struggling to even get one business under control in an 8-hour day. And so that's what we're going to talk about. That's the hugs we're going to get today. Yeah. Now, I know you, and I know you get up super early in the morning and you start your day out working out for a couple of hours. How in the world do you find time to work out for a couple of hours and still get all the stuff that you do every day? Tell us about that. How in the world do you do that, man?
It's just like you. Right now I've got a large platform of companies. We've got approximately 40 companies, and we've got a management network of another, 20 some odd companies around the country, that I have a team of people that work with those people and integrate them into all of our systems, procedures, et cetera. And, kind of put our infrastructure in place. But I've got, that number of companies. I am a partner in, 5 or 6 other companies outside of the industry. I'm on boards of, several companies. And, it's not something I set out to do intentionally. It's, I set out to do a couple of those things and build a couple of things. And then once I built those things and put the people in place, my skill set is the strategy. My skill set is like being the architect of the plan, and what resources do we need? How do we allocate it? What cash do we need? What people do we need? What positions need to be filled? And just kind of like putting the puzzle together. And once I've got the puzzle put together, then it requires significantly less time, right? It requires attention only when there's, specific things that need the attention. And so you go on, you build the next thing, you build the next thing, and you build the next thing. And there's some grind in the beginning of doing it, at least in how I do it. But once you've got it set up, and, once you've got a team of people in place, and once you got the cash flow rolling in, and you can just start making decisions, you hire people that make good decisions and say, here's the expectations, give me the results, and let them, I was very blessed. Most people come in and they are the talent, right? They are the people in the field. They come from a field background. They come from a technical background. I used to think that was a huge disadvantage that I had coming into the industry. I thought, oh man, nobody's going to listen to me because I don't know anything about air conditioners, plumbing, etc. And I realized looking back how much of a blessing it was, because I didn't have my head filled with that as a focus. I had my head filled with like, how do you build this $1 billion industry? How do we, get this company to grow? How do we, how do we identify what's wrong with that company and fix it? And that's where my head naturally went, because I didn't have the other stuff. And I had to find those people. I had to have the technical expertise that I had to have on my team. I'm not the most dynamic outgoing sales guy. So I had to go find those people and then plug them into my system. And just having to have done that, I naturally started delegating from the day that I started everything. And now I've just become good at, okay, the company's doing what I want, go to the next one, get that doing what I want, go to the next one, and delegate all the responsibility to somebody else.
So basically what you're saying is you're shitty at 90% of what's going on.
Yeah. Which has been the biggest blessing in my life.
Me too.
And I thought it was the biggest curse.
You thought it was, but it's really not. I mean, I've been asked before, what do you think your strongest strengths are? I've done it on podcasts I've been on, and they asked me, what do you think it is that, what is the strongest strength that you have? And I said, I'm lazy. And they're like, no, you're not. You're not lazy. You get all this stuff done. I go, no, but I do it in a very lazy way because I delegate. Right? I just...
Well, the other strength there is self-awareness, right?
That's right. The first thing you got to realize.
Most people don't realize it.
That is it. It is, I am aware of my own capabilities.
Yeah.
And I knew very early that they were very limited. And I better stay in my wheelhouse.
My expectations have always been way higher than my capabilities.
Mine too. Right? I just meet my wife. You'll know I'm married way up. So
that's how it works,
right? And so
the expectations are up here, the capabilities are down here, so you have to fill that gap.
That's right. I had to fill that gap. And so it really comes down to finding out what you're really not good at. Is really this, I don't know, the secret to success. Would you say that? I would. I think so. It's finding out what you're not good at and being okay with it. And once you do that, anything's possible. Anything at all is possible. I always, growing up, when you're growing up and you're going through high school, you're going through puberty, you're doing all these things, you always look at someone else and they, you got the star athlete, or you have, the smart kid, or you have the this or the that. And you're like, what am I good at? You don't even know. And they don't even know, really, at that age. And so that's how you need to think about it, is just like that, is, well, it doesn't matter if we're any good at anything. Just what is the one thing I'm good at? And identify the one thing you're good at, and then be really good at it. And if it's delegating, if it's holding meetings for your technicians and that's all you do that day, then damn it, do it as good as you can.
Right.
That's just it. And I feel like a lot of what holds back these companies and wears out these people is they just feel like they have to do everything, and then they take it home and they just never get a break. And if you're listening,
you can't be good at everything. It's just against the laws of nature, right?
Yeah.
It's like very few of us can be, amazing at everything we do. Now, it absolutely is against the law of nature. I've never seen like the world's, greatest, verbal Olympian charismatic sales leader. Those people are not going to sit behind a desk, look at payroll, make sure that the payroll is, in line with the expectation, make sure that everybody's efficiently getting their jobs. So they don't like that. It's so rare to have somebody that's organized, operationally minded, maybe finance and accounting minded, and the charismatic sales leader. It's very, very rare. And so if you think that you're all of those things, you're probably not.
That's right. Yeah. So let go. Please let go. Let go. It's going to be okay. Give it to someone else. They're going to do it almost as good as you at the very worst, or maybe a heck of a lot better than you. But give them something that they're good at. Identify that and start spreading this stuff out and getting yourself out of that. Now, backing out of the company, what does that really mean? Or, working less. What that means is now you're specializing. You're still putting time in. You're still moving forward, but you're specializing. And so it feels like you're doing less. But at the same time, you're getting more done. And that's really what you have to do, is you have to be able to be able to focus on what you're good at and specialize there and stay in that wheelhouse and make stuff
Make bigger
happen,
leaps.
make bigger
Yeah, you
leaps.
make bigger leaps, when you got people that are focused on what they're good at and specialize in,
Hmm.
than trying to teach people how to fix what they're bad at. It's just that's how it works.
Yeah.
And
And
most people, they do that though. They're like, all right, well, we're really terrible at this. Let's focus on fixing it. It's like, okay, there's some, maybe some wisdom there, but like, how about you focus on what you're really amazing at?
yeah. Well, I always say this: if I'm not the smartest guy in the room, I won,
Yeah.
because
Yep.
I use the smart people to do all the work that I don't do. Right? I'm the C student that hired all the A students. Right? That's what we are as entrepreneurs. We're that C student, D student, barely made it through high school student. That is the entrepreneur. And then I hire all the people that made great grades and went to college and stuff. That is the people that I employ, in business and, and others. But that's what you got to realize is, I realized where my strength was, and that was putting people together and building these businesses out of thin air. And so every one of you that are going through a struggle, maybe you're worn out from it. These businesses are hard. We're not going to sugarcoat it. That's why we're giving hugs today. We're not sugarcoating these businesses. They are super hard, and they will wear you down. And so it is imperative that you figure out how to get out of the weeds. You got to get out of the weeds and let this thing go. Because once you put this business together, and if you're over $1 million, you've got something. And the only thing keeping you from going to $2 million is you. That's it.
Yeah, it's so true. Everybody, like, I see that constantly, and that's why, even of myself, it's kind of a little bit, and I'm sure people wish that I was more involved sometimes, but I try to go so far. I mean, I intentionally just don't answer calls. Don't, I stay as far away until it's a desperate situation as possible, just because I don't want to be the bottleneck. Because if I'm the bottleneck, I'll get on there, and I can be brash and abrupt and kind of, completely kill whatever somebody else is trying to put together because I'm pissed off about something, right? So I try and separate myself as much as possible, and then only come in when it's absolutely required for everything.
Yep.
Unless something is just, a firestorm that
Yeah.
just, somebody's not putting out. But that's the problem. I think most people do the exact opposite of that. I think in these businesses are very complicated. They got a lot of moving parts and pieces. When you have a labor-based business, you have people and feelings and pay and all the stuff that just kind of happens that can derail your day, and the struggling businesses that I encounter, it's all fire drills. It's all chaos. It's all, and the most successful businesses are the most boring, monotonous, everything happens the same way every day, every
Yep.
time, every call. And it's just, you don't have the fire drills. And if you have fire drills, like the ones that are really successful with doing the time management stuff that you talk about, like, okay, fire drills happen between 9:15 and 9:45, and then again in the afternoon, if we've got some fire drills, we'll address them at between 1:15 and 1:45, and those are the times for fire drills. You got pay issues, you got customer issues, you got, like, those will happen then.
Yep.
Otherwise, we're going to stick to my schedule every day.
Awesome. So how do you plan your weeks? Do you give us some advice on what you do in planning your week? I mean, do you stack it up and just keep yourself back to back to back? Is it consistent? Is it the same every day? Tell us a little bit about what you do.
When I'm getting off the ground, it is more of a grind, right? So when I first started doing these latest ventures a couple of years ago, it was just, I was on Zoom calls from 4:30 in the morning, because I had partners that were in the East Coast, from 4:30 in the morning till 5:30, 6 o'clock at night. And that was that. I did that for like 6 months to get it off the ground, and then we brought some help in, and then we relocated resources, and it didn't have to be just me, right? And then now it's grown significantly, and we've got like 60 some odd employees that are doing this stuff. So it's but from a day to day now, I literally try to my calendar fills up from I got all the appointments on there, right? And I literally go through and say, is there anything that I can like actually have to attend? Do I have to attend any of this stuff? Because I feel like if I attend it, occasionally it's nice and I can be a positive contributor, but I want to leave myself open for new opportunities, new stuff, or fire drills that I have to like things that I have to attend. And
Mm-hmm.
I want to prioritize more importantly, because if I had to keep doing this, I was going to go crazy.
Yeah.
Right? I just can't. I got to work out every day. I have to, have time with the family every day. I have like, I have single mom Saturdays that I have to schedule in. It's my entertainment. Like there's things that you have to do to keep yourself sane. And
how does a
those are
married
the
man
things
go to single mom Saturday?
well, that's what happens out here in California. All the friends are single mothers. So, 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 if you don't prioritize the things that make you happy and that you enjoy, like, what's the point of working for it, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that you can get you might have to put in that year or 2 years.
You got to
of
put the
just
work in.
grind
There's no
until
doubt.
you get it. But once you've gotten yourself to that point, it's like, okay, now it's time to before you go crazy, start prioritizing what's going to keep you mentally healthy, right?
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's been exercise, been time with the family. It's like just these things that like, and maybe sometimes it's like, hey, I got to schedule 2 hours a week for Netflix. I don't know, or social media, like whatever those things are that will, keep your mind from going nuts. Because labor-based businesses, after 20 years, like I got to a point where I would no longer allow myself to talk to a customer.
Yeah.
Because customers that would call in and complain, I'd be like, this person's trying to rip me off, or this person's blaming this person, or one of these key people in my
I'm
team.
never
And they're
taking
saying
that
this,
call.
and I would just, I would just go off. I would yell at the customers. So I'm like, all right, I can't talk to any more customers.
Yeah. I never have. I don't think I've ever done that. Because I know I'm not going to be good.
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh, I had one customer one time around Christmas time that decided they just were going to back out of the deal because they could figure out they could get it cheaper somewhere. And, you're kind of left with limited options. And so I did the research and looked him up, and he was like an associate pastor somewhere. And it was around Christmas time. And I said, I don't know about you, but I'm going to pay my people that did the work on your house, even though you didn't pay me, because it's Christmas time and they need to feed their families and provide them with Christmas presents. I don't know about you. And so I just kind of like laid that guilt on him. I said, I don't know what you do for a living, but hopefully you're a God-fearing person. You'll do the right thing. And I hung up on him. Then he wrote a check for like $5,000.
Look at
got
you.
a little something out of it.
Look at you. Look at that skill you have.
Right.
I think you should be a CSR or something, or a customer service rep. Yeah. That's you.
Oh, I'd be absolutely terrible at that.
You got the $5,000.
I got the $5,000.
Hey, that sounds like you know what you're doing.
I've also gone out and camped in front of customers' house with signs before. So something about the principle of it. That
reminds me of something. So there's always been gurus in this industry. And when they were first coming out, one of the things that they were teaching, I shit you not. I'm sorry. I'm cussing today. I just feel like it. It's just one of those days. The thing is what they were teaching, and I don't remember. I'm not going to say what group it was. This is back in the early 2000s, maybe late 99, that when you get a customer that doesn't pay you, that's actually theft. You know that? Do you know it's classified as theft when they don't pay you? Mm-hmm. You do the services and do all the work, and then they don't pay you. They can classify that as theft. So they told us to have the technicians wait for the police to show up, and we'd call the police at the office and send the police officer over there. How smart is that?
Sounds like this was before Yelp.
Yeah. How smart is that? So that's the kind of guru crap that that's always gone on, just stupid stuff like that. And we fell for it one time, and I said, if we ever do that again, I will kill y'all. This is ridiculous. But yeah, that was being taught. That was the thing. And it was a prominent group that was teaching that at that time. And I was like, that's the dumbest thing. We tried it one time and it backfired very bad.
Yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah. So, back on being tired, I know that a lot of folks are really tired right now. It's the grind of the summer. Everybody's tired. And then what do we get for our being so tired? What do we get? A shoulder season. That's our reward.
Yep.
And what happens then? And then we're just like all stressed out.
It's
another challenge,
kind of
it's just one thing after another. And then the grind is hitting you and you're just worn out. And there is a way to not be worn out. I mean, if I had gotten worn out, I still wouldn't be in this industry. I mean, I've been in it 28 years now. I did take a little break. I'll be honest. I took a little break. I was needing it. Took a small break, but then I came back. But when I look back on my career before I took the break, I didn't have it so bad. I wasn't in the weeds anymore already. The business was running itself. Great people were in place. They were doing what they were great at. All these things were working, but I still was tired because I still couldn't manage my own time. And it comes back to managing your time. I mean, every time I write an article, I always end the article with "it's about time." And this is what I'm referring to. It's about time that we take the time to figure out what we're going to do to our time. Oh, man, I sound like Kamala Harris now.
I was like Kamala. It's about time to take time to do the time that this time is important time.
That was timely. Oh my gosh, man, I'm watching too much TV. Well, how am I spending my time here?
Here's besides the time thing, when you're your mental health can deteriorate because this is a people business, right? That we serve people, that we serve our employees and team members. It's a very people oriented business. And what it did for me of the day in, day out grind of like being so hands on with everything is that it made me lose my faith in people. They made me lose my faith in humanity. I've been stolen from, I've been lied to, I've been, people will just, quit and do like
you're describing our relationship.
Things. Yeah, it's amazing what people will do, and you get to experience something new every day, and it's just like constant disappointment and being let down by people.
Yeah.
And so if you aren't prepared for that, it can it'll
wear you out.
It can take you down
you can't take any of this stuff personal. That's really where it comes down to. You gotta stop taking it personal. I mean, how many of y'all raise your hand can get shot in the ear and not even affect you?
Yeah,
that's what you have to be like. That's what you have to be like. I mean, that is business. And
it's like every day you go out and get punched in the face and you just keep going.
Yeah.
On to the next punch.
You just can't let it beat you down, because this industry, this business that we're in, they're not going to change. There are ways to make it more efficient and get rid of all the stress and chaos. That's what I built my second business on. I built my first business on that concept, but I even took it a whole nother level after that. And boy, I mean, we have super happy employees. We're just like a library. We have people to come in and tour the place. And they can't believe that, this thing is actually out there making money and doing things. There's just nothing going on because we got it just dialed in. And that's the key.
Stuff. It's the time management again is not the sexy category of things that gurus talk about. It's like it's not sales. It's not here's how a closing technique. It's not records. It's not finance. I mean, time management is just this boring thing that is absolutely a necessity for anybody that's a profitable business to nail down time management. Everybody be knowing what they should be doing at any given point in the day. How the effect on productivity, like that is what makes a business profitable.
Yes.
And but none of you won't hear any of that crap on social media because it's boring. Nobody's going to read a post about time management.
Yeah.
They'll occasionally read some of your stuff, Billy.
It's pretty boring. I agree. My stuff is boring. Yeah. But you know what? That's the whole point. Simplicity.
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
it's not worth it. I'd be out of this industry so fast if I hadn't figured out a way to do this. I'd be out. I couldn't do it anymore. I'd be honest with you. In the early years, trying to figure all this out and running through the grind. For those of you that, are still, micromanaging, no offense, I apologize. I'm just, let go. Come on, let go.
Yeah.
Reach out to us. We'll help you. We'll help you let go. Continue to watch these shows, like and subscribe. We'll go deeper and deeper into this.
Your tip was amazing. That's a gold nugget. It's like, take the time to sit down and write out all the stuff that you have to do that you hate.
Yeah.
Or that you're not good at. And then, you don't have to get a real formal, like, organizational chart and put everything down and put all the people, just like say, all right, this sucks. I hate doing it.
Just write down things.
Yeah. Who can do that? Bob might be a helper, but he's got talent at this. You know what, Bob? This week we're going to let you try out payroll. whatever it is, right?
Don't screw it up.
Just to start taking, all the crap off of your plate that you're not good at, that you hate. And
congratulations.
Start doing that. it will be free. I mean, you might find it like, well, I need to hire somebody for this, but because you definitely will. But that's a great golden nugget. I was going down a path when somebody asked us earlier of like, okay, you got how many employees? Okay, you got 13 employees. Like, what are their qualifications? What are they good at? What do they like doing? I don't care what their job position is. Now put them in, who's going to take this box? Who's going to take this box? Who's going to take this box? And just, it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be the end result of what the business looks like 5 years from now, but it's going to help tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's what I did. I mean, you have to write down what you're good at, what you think you're good at, and then what you like. Now, you may not like what you're good at. You may be good at something, but you just don't really like doing it, but you're really good at it. So, if you put someone else on it, they're going to do at least 80% of what you're doing. So it's not going to be a disaster. It's okay. You're really good at it, but you don't really like it. So give it to someone, let them handle it, let go of it, and focus on what you're good at and you like, and continue to find out what they're good at and what they like. And then everybody's happy working. They're happy because they're working on what they like. And if you do that, you keep delegating out and getting these people to do these tasks that you should let go of. And when you let go of these, the weight off of your shoulders is immediate. You will just feel like a breath of fresh air when you start doing this. Now, I don't mean dump everything on everyone and you just leave the business, and that's not what we're talking about. You still need to work, but you need to specialize.
Yeah.
And everyone
you need to be, I mean, people will notice if you're burnout, just, showing up every day,
you can't hide it.
Not, if you're not healthy, functional, happy, like convinced that you're leading this charge to the next thing and where the business is going, and you're not excited about it, every single person, from your employees to your customers, they will see that. And that will emanate through them, and that will, like, your business will become a reflection of that. So if you can't show up with that face every day and lead and be that person, you shouldn't even show up sometimes, right? Because you got to figure out how to keep yourself in that mental space, because it's like weakness. They'll see it, and then all of a sudden it's like they lose confidence. And then when they lose confidence, they're not going to be confident going into that next call, and they're not going to close the next call. And it's going to be this vicious spiral of crap, just because you can't come in a good headspace every day. It's your requirement as a leader and a business owner to come in a good headspace, fresh and ready to go every single day. So whatever is keeping you from doing that, get rid of it. And
when you walk in the door at home, do the same thing.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm just realizing you need, like, the posters behind you, Billy. You got hustle and grind, right? Which is the impetus of, like, I'm starting a business. I'm going into the business for myself. I'm doing whatever. I got to hustle. I got to grind. I got to build something out of nothing. You got to do that for a little bit. But the most important one you're missing is delegation. That needs to go right in the middle behind you.
There you go. Maybe I'll change them up.
That's hustle, grind, and then delegation. That's the really the key to getting to the next level in business.
Yeah.
The more that you can delegate, the more you grow.
I mean, and you can hustle and grind without wearing yourself out too. That's when you delegate, you're hustling and grinding even more because you're become more than yourself, and it's going to work for you and multiple, amounts of greater efficiency. And, you can do this. So everybody out there, hey, you can do this. I promise you can do this. And it doesn't take long. As fast as time's moving. I mean, 6 months from now, what is that? What is that? Now, does that mean going to the golf course every day, once you kind of get your arms around it? I mean, go to the golf course if you want for a couple of days, maybe a couple of weeks, make sure you get your golf game in. But then you need to still work. But let's start working more efficiently, and let's start working from that 64,000 foot view or whatever. It's kind of like when an airplane takes off. When the airplane's leaving the runway, everything is moving really fast. That's being in the weeds. I mean, it's the ground's moving really fast. Everything, the highest part of the danger is right then and there, is when you're close to the ground. And as you ascend and get higher up in the air, everything starts slowing down. And the higher they get, the slower everything moves. In fact, it looks like it almost stops moving. You can't tell you're flying at 500 miles an hour. You can when you're by the ground, when you're only going 150 to get off in the air, but you're at 500 and you can't tell it. And it's the same way you should run your business. You should be at, 36,000 feet looking over the business and delegating, and where everything's slower, where your stress is lower. All this is the same thing as flying an airplane, because right now you're just on their runway trying to take off, and you're not and you're not taking off, and everything's just flying at you so fast. And that is what we're talking about today. That right there is the analogy that I need you to think about when you're having a bad day.
When you're starting off, you are the ground crew. You are the passengers. You are the flight attendants. You are the co-pilot. You are the pilot, right? And gradually, you want to just maybe become the pilot, right? And then, you can outsource the flight attendants, the ground crew, all of the other stuff. But even more, once you become the pilot, your next step should be what? How do I find a pilot? And now I'm just air traffic control. I think that's the ultimate goal, to get there. But most people just can't relinquish, like, well, I'm the best pilot there is, so I have to be the pilot, or I'm the best at that's the bottleneck that keeps it from going from being successful to ultra successful.
So let me ask you a question. Does that mean you're really good at it if you can't delegate it to someone else? Think about that for a second.
Yeah.
So are you really that good at something if you can't even turn loose of it?
And you can't find somebody and train them and help them, get them to, at least your level. Are you that good at it?
Yeah. Oh, maybe that's the problem. Maybe you just, so take the time and write this stuff down and find out. Ask yourself. Find out more about yourself. You're too busy. You don't even know who you are anymore. You're too busy. You're flying around everywhere. Slow
and don't
down.
do it willy-nilly. Like, have a plan, right? You can't just go out and hire 8 people tomorrow to take over all your stuff, right? You have a budget. You have manpower needs. You have to plan it in stages. You can't just but you can't be scared that you're going to spend a little bit more money, or you're going to have a little bit more payroll. Like, you have to plan it as part of the business expense, and you got to work it in.
That's right. I mean, I've gone through transitions. I've only been in business 5 years. I took that break. And so I've accelerate my transitions as fast as possible, and even in my software company, I'm not in the weeds at all anymore. And oh boy, that was glorious. 6 months ago, I was 8 foot tall weeds. I couldn't even see over them. I was so in them. And then it was time. I knew that it was time that if I'm going to continue to grow this business, at the rate that it's growing, and continue that and improve it even more, I needed experts. I needed people that were better at it than me. And then I went out, we find these people and we put them in place, and now they're running the day to day. I'm out of the weeds, and the business is just blowing up and having the best month we've ever had. You know, in the middle of July was our biggest month ever in software sales, right in the middle of air conditioning season. But yet it was a historical biggest month ever. Why? Because I let go.
Yeah.
I let go and let the experts handle it. And the experts are doing what they do. And this thing is taking off like crazy. And so I'm at 36,000 feet. I say 64,000 feet. That's the old saying, but no, planes don't fly that high. So I'm at 40,000 feet, if you will. And I'm in a calm situation, and everything's moving a lot slower. I can see it, and now I can make great decisions. I can get back to what I'm really good at, which is creating concepts and flows to build an efficient business within software. So now I'm back to doing what I can do the best, and let the people that do their jobs do what they do the best. And guess what's happening? The business is exploding. So I actually had just gone through what we're talking about today, in the last 6 months. Same thing with...
This is, again, unscripted, unplanned. I got a text message from one of my partners in Georgia, and, first personal goal done, and a down month, or what a month, down to the last minute, nothing but up from here. And we had this discussion where he's a smaller business. He's, I think he did $2 million. And, but it was like him. He was selling everything. He was the guy. He was doing it. And so, whenever something would go wrong, like, oh, I was focused on this because I had to do this. So I couldn't run out. I didn't get that set. And so why are we talking about you? Why is this always you? And I said, could you, if you're going to sell, how much are you going to sell this month to be on budget? And he said, well, this is our biggest month ever. We're going to do 200,000 in this month.
Wow.
Like, okay, great. So
that's awesome.
How about this? Let's accomplish that goal. And let's, instead of you selling 200,000, let's cap you at 100. And you got to figure out a way for the other people to sell 100 to make that gap. And then when you can do that, and then we keep setting the bar higher, and then you can keep getting your percentage lower. And then eventually you're going to be out of the sales, and you're going to have, millions of dollars being sold, and you're not going to have a part of any of it. And so he's hitting the threshold, he's breaking that, and he's pulling himself back at the same time, which is, that's awesome. Good job, Mike.
Great job, Mike.
Good job.
That's very exciting. And it's just like what we're talking about here. Just let go, delegate with purpose, identify where you're weak, get those things handled. The business will slow down. I promise. It will start slowing down. The problems don't go away, but now you can focus on a problem and get a great result out of it. That is this. But when you have multiple problems flying at you constantly, you're not handling any of them. You're not. But you're working your tail off, and it's just not working for you. And so, everybody, we appreciate you listening. One big hug from Landon and I. If you're feeling down and you've been working hard, you're in the dog days of summer, you're trying to sell everything and get a lot of stuff done. If you'll just take what we talked about today and start applying and backing out a little bit, you can actually continue the summer longer than it usually lasts when you actually let go. It actually go longer because now you can work on making it go longer.
Yep. And, just to give you even more clarity, that they always say it's always darkest before the dawn, right? So if you are one of those people, there's nothing good. There's no success without experiencing what you're experiencing now, right? Success would be not if you just showed up every day and just things clicked and you just made some money. It was great. It was just, there's nothing to that story, right? You have to overcome and you have to go through the struggle and strive. Otherwise, success is meaningless, right? We were talking about another show. I don't remember getting the championship trophy or, cashing the check so much. I remember all the struggles, and I remember the victory being sweet because, man, I was really in the dumps for a couple of months there. Didn't know how I was going to get out of it. And then today is different. That's what I remember.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you, sir. Had a great time. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Remember, like and subscribe. We appreciate you. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
See you guys.
No B.S. with Billy and Landon is produced and delivered to you by Sarah Systems. At Sarah Systems, we've created a better way to run your home service business and unlock unprecedented growth. Our field service software was designed by real home service professionals to help you save steps, charge for previously unbillable time, and win more business. But the true change requires more than software. Our live coaching helps you understand and control the aspects of your business that matter most. It's about time for a new era of service, and we're leading the way. If you're ready to join the hundreds of other contractors who've been able to increase profit margins more than 50% within 6 months, visit Sarah.tech today. That's Sarah, SERA.tech today.